Wabanabiyekna, Wabanabiyekna, Mega the Sespelamadiek, Bukulanda Musha, Wabanabiyek.
Graham's it went. Roberta, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'd like to ask, where are we at right now?
You're in my fabric store. So we're located in Bedford, and it's a small shop in amongst all the big box stores, but I have a fabric store which I offer services such as sewing machine repair and alterations. I started during COVID, where a lot of people were making bread. I discovered sewing again. I used to sew when I was a kid, home in the farm. I used to sew all my own garments, and that was part of my homeschooling. And then during COVID, just because of my work, being stressed at work, I decided to pick up sewing again. And it was after a 25-year hiatus. I started making masks with my daughter. And we made over 1,200 and donated $2 for each mask to mental health. But it sparked something in me. I remembered what it was like to sit behind a sewing machine and create. And at the time, a lot of the information was in the news about the graves in the discovery of the residential school. So it was my way of stress relief, right? To get away from the news, to get away from all of that. And I realized I was connecting with my grandmother. So my grandmother was a sewist, and she was also in the residential school as well. So I found that was my way of connecting with her. And it was mental health. I think a lot of people chose different hobbies during that time to kind of help them deal with that. So that's how it started after a hiatus, but then it grew to something more. And I changed my career. I followed my dream. I've always been entrepreneurial. And throughout my life, raising kids, I've always wanted to have my own store. 3 years ago, where we were buying our fabric was in Lower Sackville. There was a small fabric store, and unfortunately the owner passed away. And it was an opportunity. I slept on it, and then woke up the next day and bought a fabric store. So it was quite spontaneous, but I felt the calling. I really wanted to, have a place where I could sew, I could teach, and I can kind of create a makerspace for other people to feel the same way. And I remember the day somebody brought in a pair of pants, and they asked me, well, can you hem these? And at first I was thinking, can I? Can I do this? So I did. And it was quite like going through that apprehension of hemming someone else's pants. And then I did, and I realized I was good at it because I really took the time to care for that person's belongings and just did my best work. And that's what started everything.
I was wondering if you can share the story behind this one right here.
This is my prize. I love this skirt because of the story behind it. I was invited to my first fashion show, the Indigenous fashion show in Member 2. And I was thinking, what am I gonna make, right? I'm so used to making things for other people, but also making something that's gonna tell us our story. And again, using my skills to, put stories to fabric, right? So I wanted something to be elegant, regal, but also haunting. So my daughter created this beautiful haunting piece. There is a framed print, and it's called The Spirit of the Red Dress. And it actually tells the story of human trafficking and the issues that we have in our communities with human trafficking and domestic violence, right? Of course, the red dress is about missing murdered Indigenous women, but I want to go deeper. I want to tell the story of the inner child and the fact that she's childlike, but also in this design, this painting, she's actually shackled. She's got handcuffs. And it's a message to the RCMP that they are responsible for education and also investigating. So it's not something that we want to say you're at fault. We want to send the message that we're working together with you to find our missing, murdered women, children, and boys. This dress, when I wear this on the runway, when I put it in the window of my store, it tells a story that we need to focus on healing the inner child. Because when we are strong and when we are embracing vulnerability in a good way, we're actually less vulnerable. It's when we are vulnerable and we don't know how to talk about it, that's when we become more targeted online. And it's not just our children, it's our elders. It's Facebook, social media, somebody reaches out, befriends them, and if they're vulnerable in an unhealthy way, they become targeted. But what we do with that and how we heal and reach out and talk to people, that's what heals the inner child. But it's okay to be vulnerable. We're born vulnerable. We're born the child. And when you focus on the inner child and healing the inner child, then we become stronger so we can defend ourselves. So this dress actually represents the mother. So why we put this red shawl? Because it really speaks elegance. It's the mother, it's the grandmother, but she's mourning her missing child, but she's also mourning her inner child. You know, when we work as a community to protect our children and our elders, we have more stronger, spirits, right? So it's really protecting that inner child. So a good friend of mine, he actually works for the UN. He actually is one of the lead investigators for human trafficking. And he told me about the statistics and the fact that 51% of human trafficking victims are Indigenous or young boys or LGBTQ. Right? It's something that we need to talk about, and it's something that we need to kind of be present so that when the people see this, they're like, okay, we need to talk about this. This is an everyday conversation. And the fact that we incorporate the Mi'kmaq curves, the double curves, the double curves actually represents life and death, right? And the full circle of life. And the fact that this affects all ages, from children to our elders, that we need to protect the inner child.
Did you know that Membertou First Nation was relocated from the Kings Road area started in 1915? Non-Mi'kmaq near Kings Road went to court and used Section 46(1) of the Indian Act to have the Mi'kmaq relocated. On March 21st, 1999, former Mayor David Muse, at a dinner in Membertou, officially apologized on behalf of the municipality for the forced relocation, stating, "There's nothing we can do to undo the move. What I'm here to do is to start the healing process for wrongs of the past." Today, if you go to Kings Road in Sydney, there is a monument there that acknowledges the relocation of the original community to where it is today.
So a couple of things. First of all, this is an industrial, right? So it's just a straight stitch. It has some extra features like this knee bar. So if you were to push against that with your knee, watch what happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, needle goes down, it's gonna catch the bobbin underneath, and is basically braiding the thread back and forth. That's all it does.
Okay.
Right? All you're gonna do is learn straight stitch today.
Okay.
Right? So this is the speed. We can go super fast or we can go super slow. Today we're gonna go super slow.
Thank you.
All right? So this is a little bit of a guide, right, to kind of keep you in line. And you can maybe tell how therapeutic it can be.
Yeah.
Right?
Something peaceful about this.
It is, yeah. So it takes a little bit of eye movement, right? Like your hands, your eyes, your foot's all working together.
Speed, lift,
Speed.
adjust when I need to.
Yep. And once you're done with the scrunchie, you can keep it.
Oh, wonderful. Well, my wife loves scrunchies, so.
I I didn't finish traditional school because my father, he had a lot of challenges because of the residential school and what he went through. So we lived very isolated on a farm, and I left school at grade 7. My father went to university, and he didn't complete his bachelor's degree because of the challenges that he's had with, mental health and addictions. So it was my goal to finish that for him. So when I went to university, they told me it's impossible. You have a grade 7 education. It's not possible for you. And at that time, I did self-identify as First Nations. So I said to them, tell me what I need to do, and I will do it. So the path was to get my GED and to enroll again. And they said it was going to take a couple years. I did it in 2 months because I was determined to follow that path and had that, and trying to explain how it feels to really be heart-driven, to do something when I was told I couldn't do it. With a lot of the support through the Friendship Center in Fredericton at the time, and with the elders and residents, I was able to complete that first couple of years. Now, unfortunately, I found myself pregnant within my first year of university, and life happens. And it took a longer path, but I was still focused on finishing. And it was actually when I moved back home from Ontario here to Halifax that I went to the Mount. And again, went to them and said, how do I finish my degree? With the support that I had with the Indigenous liaison, I was able to finish my degree with my children beside me. And the first thing I remember was calling my dad. And at that time, we haven't spoke to each other in 12 years. And I called, and I remember just saying, I did it. I did it. So it's a little emotional because I still remember the challenge was hard, but it wasn't impossible because I had the right support. And the fact that I had a goal to finish what my father didn't finish, that meant a lot. And now I have a double major degree, and I graduated twice with the Mount. So I'm looking forward to going back and completing my master's. And hopefully it'll be like through the community work and, just to see what else is next, right? Education is very important for me.
That is so incredible that you've shared that with us and our viewers. With, education being important, continuing education, continuing training, upgrading. Is there anything coming up for you now?
Yes, there is.
To share.
So I decided to apply for a course in Milan. Oh. So I'll be training with the industry leaders in fashion. And the whole point of the course is to learn about making changes. And I hope to bring a lot of that training back to our communities about building our own brand, building our own sustainable models in fashion. My goal is to be part of the movement so that we can make our own fibered fabric and make it from our own hands, make our own fashion, make our own fibers and fabric so that in turn, we can make our own regalia using natural fibers. Well, welcome to my classroom. So this is our classroom and also my workspace. So this is where all the magic happens. We actually make scrunchies. Hair scrunchies using Indigenous fabrics, and the satin is perfect for scrunchies. You may not relate to that.
No.
But it's perfect for long hair so it doesn't pull your hair. So we usually make several hundred at a time. And this is a great project for students or anybody who wants to learn how to sew because they're repeating. And I always say to anyone who wants to learn, put miles on your machine. So right now we're working on making 200 for the truck house in Halifax. And another project I'm working on is ribbon skirts. If I'm not here at the store, Usually on weekends, I'm at powwows, and I bring these beautiful ribbon skirts. And these skirts have fabric, usually 2 meters of fabric for a regular size, and then 5 rows of ribbon. So I really want to encourage people to make their own skirt, right? Of course I can make them, and sometimes people will purchase the kit and they still want me to make it, which is perfectly fine, I'll do that. But we give them the option to make their own skirt, right? If they don't know how to make a skirt, we encourage them to ask an elder, ask somebody within their own community to teach them, right? You can always offer tobacco to kind of share that knowledge, but it's really encouraging them to learn themselves.
Did you know in Mi'kmaq that the word for knife is wachan? Wachan comes from the word wakandao, which is Mi'kmaq for bone.
I remember my first skirt like it was yesterday, because at that time I was sewing. I was making a lot of garments and hemming a lot of pants for other people, but when it came to a ribbon skirt, I was a little bit hesitant because I wanted to know more and just feel connected. So I was going through my own journey at the same time. And I remember going to Sebaganegati, the powwow. My first day, I, was getting to know my place, home. I was coming back home. And I was a vendor, I was selling fabric, so, I was going through the process of selling fabric, but I realized I didn't have my own skirt. Everybody else had skirts. I was selling fabric for skirts, but I didn't have my own. And I realized that I needed to stop and make my own skirt. So I went home that night. I had some fabric that I had set aside that I was really drawn to, and I was like, that's it, it's time. And I started my skirt in prayer because it was the memories of my father, it was the memories of my grandmother, it was the memories of all of the hurt, all of the anguish, all of the learning about coming back home to my home community and feeling like I belonged. I think that was the biggest thing for me, is when I made my skirt, it was made from my own hands in my grandmother's honor, but also it made me feel like I belonged. Right? That I felt proud of being a Mi'kmaq woman and telling my story through my skirt. And the colors were, colors that reminded me of potatoes and the green grass and growing up on the farm. I had my story, and for the first time I was able to share my story through my skirt. So for me to go through that, it was the experience I needed so that I could help others tell their story. So I'm really glad that I took that step, that leap of faith, to heal through making my first skirt. So I understand sometimes it is very emotional for someone to make their first skirt. And when I teach classes, I tell my story because then I know what it feels like, right? To feel like I didn't belong because of what the residential school did to my family. But also to overcome that and work through that so that there was a goal in mind to say, you know what, I am going to make my skirt and I'm going to do it with my own hands and I'm going to belong and wear it proud. Why sewing is so good for mental health is because you're really focused, right?
Yeah.
The world just kind of melts away and then you're using all of your senses to kind of really, focus on the work that you're doing.
How do I finish this off at the end?
So what you can do when you push this, push it down, nice big strong, and then put your foot pedal on.
Pedal?
Yep, it's gonna go backwards.
Oh.
Yeah. And then stop, lift this up, and then go forward with your foot pedal. Yeah, so what it does, it locks in your stitch.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, yes, I see it there now.
So when you use your knee,
The
you
left
lift it up.
remove.
There we go. And then we can just trim that off.
Okay.
You can make it as a bandana, you certainly can. And you're gonna just fish it through.
Oh, it's like the thread on a pair of shorts there.
Yes. So that's gonna push all the way through. You should be able to feel that on the other side.
Yes.
There you go. What you can do is just tie it.
Yeah.
To finish that edge, we're just gonna tuck it underneath, so your raw edges are underneath.
Yeah.
And then this one is gonna tuck inside.
Yeah.
Right? And then you're just gonna sew right over it. Yeah, you're just sealing that shut.
So just hit it?
Hit it.
Whoa.
Nice and finished. Look at you.
My God. Well, thank you.
Yes, well, I'm glad that you're able to learn and kind of make something.
First scrunchie.
Yeah.
One of the things have found consistent with a lot of the interviews we do, and we're talking to people who fish, talk about people who pick natural medicines, people who dance, people who sing. Through a lot of that cultural connection, there's a lot of healing, and what I love hearing today is there may be healing so many things, and of course it sounds like fashion is one of them for a lot of us.
Right, it's what we wear, and it's really our armor. And sometimes I have some special clients that come in, and you know, they're usually seeking alterations because they're uncomfortable with something. Whether they just recovered from a surgery and something doesn't fit, or they've lost weight or gained weight. There is something that they're uncomfortable about and they want something fixed. So sometimes I can fix it and sometimes I can't. But it goes back to, are we comfortable in our own skin? And usually the clothes that we wear is a reflection of our personality. It's a reflection of how we feel. There's one lady, so she had surgeries, and how I approach things is very different. I respect people's energy. So when I'm doing a fitting, I ask permission to go into their space. And I don't know that person's story, their trauma. And when I ask permission, I'm giving them respect. And that's our way. So I can incorporate our teachings in what I do as my profession, as a tailor. And her comment was, that's the first time somebody asked me. And she really valued that I respected her, right? And it made me realize that's who we are. You know, our culture and who we are is respectful, but we understand everybody has a story because we are storytellers. I just so happen to use my skill to tell stories through fabric.
Thank you so much for sharing so much today about fashion, your success and everything. And I wish you all the continued success and the best with everything, including the upcoming certificate program.
Great, thank you.
Wabba nabby yekka,